Dr. Sebastian Gorka, MAGA Coalition Chief Strategist and former Deputy Assistant to the President, joins me now. Dr. Gorka, thank you for holding there during that call. I wanted to give Joe a full...
on fire, Mr. Kassam.
Do you know what it is? It's lack of sleep. The adrenaline's pumping. Everything's going now. Dr. Gorka, I wish we had nicer circumstances in which to chat, but unfortunately, yet again, we have a terrorist attack here on the American soil. 8 people dead, 11 injured, and as a result of this chap who came into the country on a diversity visa. What is a diversity visa, Dr. Gorka?
A diversity visa is a politically correct act of madness. America is the most diverse nation in the world. There is no key ethnicity in America. There's no special social heritage background. And for some reason, Chuck Schumer back in the 1990s thought that we weren't a diverse nation and helped create the green card lottery, by which individuals from across the globe who simply had a high school diploma and 2 years of employment could apply like rolling the dice in the casino to get a green card to enter the United States. And this Uzbek national was one of the individuals who exploited this act of cultural and political suicide and became a resident of the United States.
Now, we know that he lived in Tampa for a while, and then appears that he moved to New Jersey for a small amount of time as well. Preceding this attack, was married, I think, in Ohio in 2013. Just a very, very strange, curious, and sporadic lifestyle that he seemed to lead over here. And to top it all off, Dr. Gorka, in the last 6 months, I think, has done 1,400 trips as an Uber driver. So 1,400 people probably more than that, if more than one person gets in an Uber at a time, have been sitting alongside this chap. I'll tell you this, and I'll ask you this question. I sit in Lyfts. I don't take Ubers because Uber is a horrific company. I use Lyft to take cabs. And oftentimes I will sit in a car and there will be some Middle Eastern music playing. Sometimes I've had the call to prayer, if it's Ramadan especially, the call to prayer playing in the cars at certain points in time. How do you distinguish? How does the every person out there distinguish between, I guess what we're talking about is a good Muslim and a bad Muslim?
Well, this is a very trenchant question because, I've actually posted a mugshot of the terrorist, and it's not a mugshot from yesterday. It's a mugshot from a previous run-in he had with law enforcement when apparently he didn't show up for a court date and was photographed by the police. Yet, nevertheless, he manages to pass the Uber background check. So you raise a very important question. This isn't about all Muslims in America. It's about those who follow the ideology of the 7th century atavistic version of Islam, and those people are here. And we have to root them out. We have to find them. It's as the president said when he gave that speech in the Hijaz at the center of the Islamic world to more than 50 Arab Muslim leaders, and he said, you have to help us root out. He said, you have to rid your places of worship, the mosques. You have to rid your societies of the extremists, of the terrorists. The bad news is some of them are already here, and we have to prevent this great nation from ending up like Europe with vehicular attack after vehicular attack, knifing after knifing, improvised explosive device after improvised explosive device. That's what the Trump White House is about, stopping that happening here.
When the last vehicular attack happened in the United Kingdom, Jeremy Corbyn, the hard left leader of the Labour Party, makes Bernie Sanders look like Ronald Reagan, came out and said that he wants van control. That is making it harder to purchase or rent vans, trucks, cars. And this is something, unfortunately, that I have heard mooted in the last 24 hours here in the United States. Dr. Gorka, do we need van control?
Yeah, I had to debate Geraldo Rivera last night, who said the answer to our problems is making sure the U-Haul franchise owners are our line of defense, that when they see something suspicious, that they report it. Now, I don't know about you, Raheem, but the franchise owners of the truck rental facilities are not the first people that come to mind when I think about saving us from terrorism. What I'm interested in is the kinds of things that you mapped in your book, No-Go Zones. We have to understand where these people are being recruited, how they're being protected, how they're indoctrinating others, and how they're preparing for attacks. That's how we prevent the next Manhattan attack.
Dr. Gorka, it's a great pleasure to talk to you about this, because we get into such extreme specifics, and I really enjoy those, and I think this audience does too, because this audience is perhaps one of the best, if not the best out there, or especially on this issue. People out there who go out and buy and read the Quran cover to cover, could quote you long passages from it, have read your book, Defeating Jihad, are frequent visitors to Pamela Geller's site. Her new book's out today, by the way, Fatwa, Hunted in America, another must read. And so now we're at a point where we understand sort of the broad stuff, the 50,000 foot stuff, and we can get into extreme specifics. One of those extreme specifics, I think, that we talked about a lot during the campaign, and we heard about in the opening parts of this administration, was nailing down the Muslim Brotherhood and prescribing it as a terrorist organization. Do you believe that doing that, disrupting these groups, care-aligned groups, and so on and so forth, could prevent more of these terrorist attacks?
We have to be honest. You do have the best listenership in the United States, as far as I'm concerned, not just for their common sense, but for their actual strategic level understanding of the issues. It really is quite stunning. And as Steve Bannon says, I'd pick the first 100 callers into, the Breitbart show in front of, the first 100 wonks in D.C. or the first 100 people at Goldman Sachs to run the country. So the Muslim Brotherhood, let's call a spade. All jihadi movements, whether they are Sunni or Shia, it doesn't matter whether it's Hezbollah or whether it's ISIS. They all owe their genetic code to the Ikhwan Muslimin, to the Muslim Brotherhood.
Wow.
The grandfather of all modern Islamic terrorism is the Muslim Brotherhood. If Muslim nations that are our partners have already designated the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, who are we to say they are not a terrorist organization?
I think that's quite right. Actually, we should take them at their own word. So what? How does it get done? We've got a president who believes in this. We have control of the House. We have control of the Senate. Why aren't we banning the Muslim Brotherhood?
Because it is the State Department's prerogative to do so technically. The President directs the State Department to make that determination. And after the DOJ, the State Department is perhaps the most politically distorted agency in the U.S. government. 75,000 people, a vast majority of whom really do not recognize the authority of the president or the will of the American people, and are ideologically motivated to resist the new policies of the administration. I can't tell you. I just came from a meeting 2 days ago with from diplomats from a European nation that is pushing back on the threat of Islamic terrorism, and they said nothing has changed as far as they are concerned in the treatment they receive from the State Department, because the Obama holdovers are still driving policies with regard to their country. That's the big lift. It's been 9 months. And unfortunately, the draining of the swamp at the State Department has yet to be fully implemented.
Does that change in the next fiscal year? Are they going to be able to hire more MAGA types, or is this the State Department we have to live with for the next 3 or 7 years?
It's really a function of leadership, as far as I'm concerned. You're not going to change the views of the majority of people at an institution as large as the State Department. It's really up to Rex Tillerson. It's up to his putting the key individuals underneath him into positions where they can affect change and really, lay down the law. If you don't agree with the policies of this administration, whether it's on immigration stops, whether it's on the Muslim Brotherhood being designated, you have a very simple choice. You can toe the line with the new commander-in-chief and the new secretary, or you can resign. It is that simple, and that's the level of determination we need to see being executed at the State Department.
I don't know if you're being, I don't know if you're goading me into asking this question or simply wanted to leave it as an implication. Are you saying that you don't believe that Rex Tillerson is currently doing the job that he's supposed to be doing?
I am not satisfied with the speed with which the new winds of change have been fanned through foggy bottom. I understand the problems, the obstructions. It's almost as bad as DOJ and what AG Sessions has to do there. But again, it is month 9. But talking to the few Trump supporters who are in important positions in these agencies, they tell me that it could be quicker. And let me just leave it at that.
And we will leave it at that. Dr. Sebastian Gorka, MAGA Coalition Chief Strategist and former Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning on Breitbart News Daily.
Thank you, Raheem. God bless you and the listeners.